What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I just want to say thank y'all for the support for every episode. I appreciate everything that y'all do. Thank y'all for sharing. Thank y'all for listening and definitely taking away things from the podcast episode. I hope that I'm able to bring y'all closer to God or definitely understand what I'm trying to say. But on this episode, I kind of just want to break down my journey from childhood to now and my journey through Christ because I wasn't always the person that I am now. I've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And one thing about life, it takes you on a journey so you can appreciate the destination. And I'm thankful that God took me on the journey that I've been on because the things I have in my life now, I would not have appreciated if I was given it sooner in life. So I'm gonna start to when I was a child. So around the age of I want to say 8 or 9, I was introduced to pornography by a family member. And that, at that moment, I didn't know what it was. So for years, I was just always curious, and it just stayed in my life because I was curious and I enjoyed it. So it kind of grew into all the way through adulthood. And as you know, pornography is definitely against God's will for us. But at that time, as a child, I didn't know. Did that family member know? I'm pretty sure they did. But the devil tries to get people when they're younger, when they don't know any better, so they can live a life of sin. And knowing that growing up, it was hard to let go. It was something. It was a challenge because it was like I got introduced to this at such a young age. How do I let go of this? How do I move on from life? And it all starts with prayer, discipline, and fasting, among other things. So it was something I struggled with for a little minute. Did I eventually overcome it? Yes and no. Still, it's not more so a struggle. It's more so about discipline at this point. Because the older I got, let's move up to the age of 15, 16. The older I got, the more I would do it because it made me feel good. And in your mind, if something feels good, you should keep doing it. But everything that's good is not always good for you. So the older I got, I just matured enough to realize, like, hey, anytime I get this feeling to do this, I need to go to the gym. I need to read my Bible, pray, do anything but that. And it's been a journey. It was a journey, But that's just one of the, many things I had to go through in life. I'm pretty sure a lot of people struggle with that because a lot of people, families are the same way. They believe in doing that. Not saying that's for every family, but for some of them, for some people, eventually they find out about it later or earlier, and it's just terrible because as we all know, that's not the will of God. Because watching porn leads to masturbating, which is stuff that we should be doing. And you may ask me, am I mad at that family member? Have I ever had that conversation with them? I've never had that conversation with them. I just let it be because at the end of the day, that what justice would I have gotten out of it? What was the outcome? Nothing. God knows everything that happened in my life. God knows that something was brought into my life, and He can take it out, and that's exactly what He has been doing. Also, at a young age, say now, we went from the age 8 to the age, let's go to 10 or 11. I was introduced to drugs. I personally never did drugs at that age, but I was surrounded by a lot of drugs and drinking. A lot of my family and the people around me were heavy drug addicts and drinking, but I didn't stop wanting to be around them because they were my family, and I loved them. Of course, I've seen a lot of bad things happen to good people all because of drugs and drinking. So every time I would go hang out with some of my family, always involved drugs and drinking. And some of the stuff that you're gonna hear today, I've never told anybody, so it's gonna be a shock. I'm probably gonna get some phone calls, text messages, but it's life, ain't it? So, at a young age, I was offered my first beer by my father. I had common sense to say no, but as we all know, why would you offer a child, a drink? I'm not downplaying him as a father or as a man. I'm just saying, why would you do that? Good thing, the sense I had was coming. But a lot of my family members, a lot of my older cousins, like I said, I'm like, what, 10, 11, maybe 12, offer me cigarettes, smoke weed, to do bad things. They were in gangs. They were doing a lot of things that I never wanted in my life. But because that was my family, I was surrounded by it. But that doesn't mean I had to be a product of my environment. I chose to be different. Whenever they wanted to do those bad things, I always chose to go play basketball. That was my getaway. That was my love. That was where my heart was at. So it was just hard, It was hard being around family that wanted you to do something bad. It was like my mom would be like, not to do this, not to do that. And she was right. I not to do those things. And then you have your other side of the family like, you can do this and do that. It's okay. But I knew how the outcome was going to turn out for me in my future. Just like having sex. Like, why would I be having sex between the ages of 10 and 12? Matter of fact, between the ages of 10 and 16, let's be realistic. Like, why, the family is supposed to be people you can lean on and be there, just lean on and love on. But what do we do with family that teaches us the wrong things, right? Cousins try to get us to live a negative life. Like, if I'm being honest, I'm the only one on my dad's side that, out of all my cousins, majority of my cousins, I graduated with no kids. I don't have any kids, and that's because I never had sex at an early age like they were trying to introduce me to. I'm not placing the blame on anybody. I'm not saying anybody did anything, but I'm just saying because I was introduced to it doesn't mean I had to do it. There were times I had to say no. There were times I had to, turn my back towards them and be like, hey man, I can't do that. Right? Cool. So now where are we at? We're between the ages of, I said 10 and 12. Let's go to 13 and 14. 13 and 14. Now I'm getting to the age where, I know what's right from wrong. I know what the Bible says. Cool. So, remind you, I'm still around this environment, this product, like, right? And I'm telling you this because the journey that God took me on started from when I was a child. Like, I was doing a lot of bad things when I was younger due to the people around me. So in that situation, you have to change the people that's around you. So I went from hanging with them a lot to hanging with them a little. To my mom just saying, you know what, let's not go down there at all. Let's just stay here. Don't you don't need to go up around that. And at the time, I never understood the decision. I was like, yeah, they do bad things, but at the end of the day, they are my family. They are my cousins, right? So now I'm what, 12, 13, 12, 13, 14. I'm in middle school, right? So middle school, I met a lot of interesting people. I remember a few of the people I went to middle school with, and they had me doing some bad things too. Like, hey, I got in trouble at home for lying. Got my phone taken away. But guess what I decided to do? Get a backup phone. Mom find that. Now I get in more trouble. Now people around me are showing me to be disobedient, to, argue with my mom and just be defiant. And I'm like, why? Like, looking back on it, why did I have to be defiant? Why did I have to do the things that they told me to do just so I could fit in and be cool? I've never been able to fit in anywhere. Like, I'm a standalone-ish person. And I have a different light. I have a different path that follows me. Like, you see me, like, people assume that I'm a certain type of person because I got tattoos and I dress a certain way, I look a certain way, and that's not the case at all. I represent God everywhere I go. So you don't never have to fit in. Don't never let anybody make you think that you have to fit in because you don't. Right? So just going through middle school, I went through a lot of things, a lot of lying, a lot of stealing, all that. Like, yeah, I stole a few times. Was I proud of it? Nope. But, I just felt like to fit in, I had to do what I had to do. And, you keep getting caught up in living a lifestyle that you don't actually live or doing things that you don't actually do. You're going to actually start thinking it's real and pretending that you're this person that you're not. And like, being honest, you know better. If you know better, you do better. That is a true statement. A true statement. Right? So now we're going from 10, 12, 13. Now we're going to go to high school. High school is where, from high school to my current life, is where we're going to really notice a lot of things that I should not have been doing, that I was doing anyway, right? I moved to Florida in 2015. So 2016, no, 2015, still 2015. I started my sophomore year because I moved here last month to school as a freshman. So sophomore year, I met this girl. Right? I didn't really know too much about her. I didn't really know too much of anybody, really. I just thought she was nice because she was nice to me. We ended up talking and dating, right? I'm not saying high school relationships count, but if you've been with somebody since high school and you're now married to them, kudos to y'all. I love it. But sometimes, in my perspective, relationships that don't make it out of high school towards marriage, they don't count to me. So this girl, we lived in the same neighborhood. She was nice. She was cool, right? So I think we ended up dating for like a week. And then she ended up cheating on me. I seen her kissing another guy. I was like, oh, wow. Right? Right. So, like, you know me, I'm not finna beat your behind over no girl. I'm not that type of person. You can have her. She for the streets. You feel me? So, eventually I told myself, like, maybe I should, like, get my get back, get my revenge, which is something that you also shouldn't do. It. You should also let God handle things. Don't ever think you have to get vengeance or revenge on people. So it went from boom, dating this one girl to now dating her sister. And this were a lot of I ain't gonna say traumatic events, but a lot of life learning events happened with the sister. So now with the sister, me and the sister dated for like, let's see, almost a year and a half. And the thing with that was it just wasn't what I thought. It wasn't what I thought it was because, all right, back to what I was saying. Sorry, I had to take a little break, get something to drink, get my thoughts together. So boom, dating the sister is where a lot of traumatic events happen. So for an example, we dated for almost 2 years. We went through sophomore and junior year, but when I was a sophomore, she was a junior. When I was a junior, she was a senior. And after she graduated, she moved somewhere else. Well, let me back it up a little bit. I'll back it up. No, you know what? We good. So she moved she still stayed in Florida, but she lived somewhere else. So eventually, let's say I was deceived and I ended up finding out she was cheating on me and she was lying. And I could have been upset about it. I could have been like, oh, damn, why would you do that? But, I did I did a lot of nice things for her, and I felt like my time was wasted. But remind you, I'm not looking back at it now like, oh, it was just high school. At that point in time, I was devastated because I was like, wow, that's terrible. Why would you do that? So fast forward to my senior year. Actually, bump senior year. Senior year was senior year. Ain't nothing special happened that year. I didn't even take my senior pictures because I was just ready to graduate at this point. I didn't even want to. You feel me? I was ready to go. So graduated, boom, life after high school. This is where it gets good. Now I'm the age, 19? No, 18, 19-ish. So graduating from high school. Um, I was chilling. Life was good. I was in school. I was working two amazing jobs. And here's, the part where it gets interesting. I met this girl. I didn't I met this girl because I heard some things about her that she was good. Now, she was a good person, but she was also good in bed. And at the time, I wasn't really focused on waiting to her marriage to have sex. I'm like, who? Don't you gotta test the product before you drive it? Don't you test drive a car before you buy it? And that's the mindset I was having. So automatically, boom, I knew this relationship wasn't gonna work because we got two different perspectives. First of all, we had two different perspectives on religion. I'm not gonna get too deep in that. She might know who she is. Kudos to her, or whatever. But we had two different views on religion. My views and her views. So at that point, we wasn't equally yoked. We wasn't gonna work out. Cool. At that time, I'm not thinking about that. I'm 19. I'm balling. I'm living life for real. So I'm like, dang, I got this bad behind girl. Like I literally walked into the room and I seen her. I was like, dang, she the baddest one in here. Minding you, you're not really supposed to be thinking like that. And I was. So we ended up talking, dating, or whatever. It didn't even work out. The reason why, I threw a birthday party, ended up sleeping with another girl. Bad on me. And at that time, I was just like, it is what it is. I mean, it happened. But it's more to that story. But yeah, so that happened. I didn't tell her right away because I didn't know how to tell her due to some in the back issues, But eventually I told her. She said how she felt. Cool. We tried to make it work, but at the end we couldn't. The only person I could be mad with was myself. But at that time, I didn't realize that was my way out. Oh my bad! I didn't know my ring was on. That was my bad for thinking it was gonna work, knowing it wasn't gonna work. Cause what? Like why? I was only with her. I'm not gonna say I was only with her because of of what she could do like in bed, but that was majority of it. Like when I know she wasn't out there caring about me. In the back of my mind, I was like, dang, if I lose her, she gonna be doing that stuff she do to me to somebody else, which is crazy to think about, right? But at the same time, I'm 19. I'm not as spiritually mature as I am now. So back then, I was going to church, but I wasn't listening. If that makes sense. You ever talk to somebody, have a conversation, you hear what they're saying, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. Hearing and listening to different things. Like I can hear you, but I'm not listening to you. I hear cars drive by all the time, but I'm not listening to see what kind of car it is. So you just have to, you know, like I wasn't where I'm at now. So boom, past that, right? So you know what? I'm not gonna even skip this part. After that, I decided to be what today's generation call a hoe. I was messing around with different females. I was sleeping here, I was sleeping there. Oh, you look good, girl. Boom, I want you. I felt like at that point in time, if I could really get the baddest girl in the room, I'm going to get her. My talk game was right. The way my mind was moving, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't even repenting after doing none of this stuff. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just do it. So I'm out here pulling up to people's mama house 2 o'clock in the morning, having sex. You know, get in a hotel room, having sex. You want me to come over your house? We having sex. Don't invite me over to your house if we wasn't doing nothing. And like I said, I didn't know how far I was from God until later on in life. Because I'm doing all this, but nobody telling me is wrong except for one person, my mama. Everybody else around me was like, this is what you're supposed to do. You're doing good. You're doing right. You never commit to nobody. Never commit to one person because you're single till you're married, which is a statement that I definitely don't agree with at all. Like, at all. So I was doing all these things, sleeping with different women, lying to them about how I feel because I didn't actually love y'all. I didn't, and I eventually had to have that conversation with them. I was like, you know what? I said that I love you just so I could get what I get, and that was a form of manipulation, you know, which I had to pray, you know, for forgiveness for. I cannot manipulate somebody just because I want something, but that's the person I used to be. So after about a year, what was it, 19, 20? So yeah, after about a year of just sleeping around doing, you know, all types of stuff, right? I shouldn't be doing. Now I'm at the age of 20. I'm working at this amazing job still, right? I met this girl. No, actually I met 2 girls. One girl, she was very spiritual. She was very spiritual. She was in the church. Basically what I felt like I needed in my life to be a better man of God. But in my mind, I wasn't paying attention to that. She was skinny. She was real skinny. Maybe about 90 pounds. And then there was another girl. Thick, big bone, or whatever you want to call it. Told me she go to church and she didn't go to church. Right? Didn't we never pray, right? So boom. Her. So then I'm like, I'm trying to figure out who do I want to be with. Instead of praying about it. You know what? I did pray about it, but I didn't wait for God's answer. I just chose because the wrong people was like, you gonna choose that skinny girl over that thick girl? You gonna let somebody else get her? And then in my mind, I'm like, bro, you know what? I feel like you testing my gangster. So boom, I'm getting big girl. Not big girl, but you know. Yeah. So I went with her. 80% because of her body. And the rest was, I don't even know. I don't know why I chose her, honestly. So then me and that girl dated for me and that girl almost dated for 2 years. 2 years, we went through a lot. It was terrible. I honestly, like halfway through them 2 years, I realized I made the wrong decision. I shouldn't have chose that girl. I shouldn't have chosen her. Like, and that was on me because that within that whole 2 years that me and her was dating, number one, we never been to church together. Number two, we never prayed together. Number three, we never read the Bible together. Number four, we didn't even talk about God. So for all them years, I'm straying further and further and further away from God, right? Consistently making mistakes. You know, let me see. Almost to the 2 year mark, I eventually came to my senses and I was like, I was going through depression. Like dating her put me through depression. I gained over 30, 40 pounds. I got fat. I got real fat. I was eating my feelings away. She introduced me to drugs. I was doing everything that I shouldn't have been doing. And I'm pretty sure God was shaking his head at me like, wow, what is he doing? Like I'm doing drugs. I'm sinning left and right. I'm drinking left and right. I'm doing both. I'm crossfading. I don't care at this point, right? So so I just, you know, months went by and eventually I found out she was cheating. God laid, you know, it was just my time to go. I knew it was my time to go and I was trying to leave, but I needed a way out. And God showed me the proof that she was cheating. And I confronted her. I was like, hey, why are you cheating? She tried to play victim, yada, yada. I got my stuff and I left because I knew that I needed to be gone, but I didn't know how to leave. And God gave me a way out because before I met her, I wasn't doing drugs, I wasn't drinking, none of that. To meeting her, to doing drugs and drinking, and just I just felt like that person was sent as a distraction to move me away from God. And now at this point, boom, not in a relationship, not with her. I'm at the age of 20. How old am I? Like 20, 22? I'm going to say 22. You know what? No, wait. I was 21. 21. 21, 22, one of them. So now I'm on my own. So now I'm like, okay, God, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to be the man I need to be? So now I moved out. I'm going to church more. I'm praying more, reading my Bible more. Now 2 months later, no, actually a month and a half later, I get my own spot. I moved in with my mom just so I can get back on my feet because me and my ex had an apartment, but I left. I said, you got that. Took my name off the lease. You got that. Now you're gonna have to pay all the bills by yourself. Boom. I had to throw that in. No, I'm just a little petty, just a little bit. But fast forward to get my own spot, right? I had to start from the bottom. I had to get my own furniture, get everything, right? So then I started back sinning. I'm messing with women I ain't supposed to be messing with girls who are quote unquote gay but only go straight for me. I'm going crazy. Right? At one point I had a whole rotation. I had certain girls, people baby mamas coming through on different days. I thought it was cool because like I said before, people around me was praising me for doing that. Right? They were praising me for doing bad. Like, oh, I'm telling this girl, hey, I love you, but we can't be together. She thinking something wrong with her, and it's not. It's just me. I didn't want a commitment because I felt like it was too much for me at the time. Like, why do I feel like I have to love you just for me to get some loving? My mindset wasn't as mature as it is now. So fast forward, I started going to church a lot more, and eventually I cut off sex. I told myself no more sex, and I'm currently on that same path. I haven't had sex. I haven't did anything sexual. Praise God. I'm thankful for it. Right. So now we're to like current day, like a year ago, current day. Like I said, I haven't had sex. I haven't did anything. I've been I've been in situations where I was put in some tough situations, but I made the right choice by saying, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this. I want to leave. I want to go now." Right. And the reason why I'm telling y'all this is because I don't want people to think that throughout my life I grew up perfect. I go through the same stuff y'all go through. I'm tempted every day. I walk outside. It's temptation every day. I got tempted the other day. Literally had a woman come up to me talking about she just want to tell me, hey, like, hey, you ain't gotta tell me nothing, like for real. But it's just temptation because people don't want me. Like, I'm not gonna say, people in the past they didn't want me for me. They wanted me because of my money or because they heard that I was good in bed, right? And neither of those two things matter when God brings you somebody. When God brings you somebody, it's a God ordained love. It's a different type of love. It's special. It has meaning to it. That's why you're supposed to wait till marriage to have sex because you're not supposed to experience that type of love with anybody else. So, I'm not saying that I'm sin free now because I'm not. I sin accidentally. I have to keep asking for forgiveness and praying throughout the day. But the goal is to always get better and to not get worse. So for me being down bad worse, I ain't even include the parts of the story where I was dead broke, didn't have nothing to eat. Some days I ain't never tell nobody. Like I was dead broke, no money in my account, behind on like almost every type of bill, almost to almost get my car repoed, to almost getting evicted, being a month or two behind on rent. I didn't say Like, I didn't even go in deep detail like I wanted to. I just gave y'all like the basic types of things that went in my life. But I've been through a lot. I done had losses of family, aunts, cousins, all that. But it's just I'm just trying to show y'all that just because of the things you go through, it doesn't make you the person you are today. I've been through what I've been through, so God can make me into the person I am today. You know, like at that time, I didn't know why I went through what I went through, but I realized that it was a test. God was giving me a testimony. Now I go around telling the story to everybody, and I want to share it on my podcast because maybe enough people not listening. A lot of people don't realize what a lot of people go through. Like we go through the same stuff. I go through a lot of stuff, probably worse than some people. All right, right. Rent due. I'm looking at my account, only got $2. Right. Living with, me and my ex living together. Looking at my account, I got $40. Rent due tomorrow, but we high and we need some food, so my $40 gone. Right. And to conclude all of this, I just want to say that God is good. God has brought me a long way. I am so happy of the man I am now. I don't even think the same. I don't look the same. I have a light to me now. I never knew that there was a light that shined within me, but I had to get up out those bad situations, out those bad places, and let the bad people go in order to find myself again. Never would I have thought that I would have been here, right? But only with God that I am. I am alive. I've been in some tough situations. I got robbed at gunpoint at one point. I didn't think I was gonna make it, right? I thought I was just I don't know what I thought. I just don't take a day for granted. I pray every day. I thank God for waking me up every chance I get because you never know. Just be grateful and thankful for life. Live your life right. That's the reason. That's one of the main reasons why I'm telling y'all this. Live your life right. It's not too late to turn to God. I thought it was too late. I thought God forgotten about me because I was so far gone, and He was right there the whole time. As soon as I turned towards God, He revealed Himself to me. He was right there. He literally reached out His hand. I used to pray that I want to get close to God as possible, and it's very emotional talking about this because it was a lot. I would have never thought I'd be where I'm at. I've got everything I've prayed for and extra. And extra. I can honestly say it with all my heart. So I just want to say I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all get a lot of, that you understand a lot from this podcast, that you know, hopefully can relate, and hopefully that when you listen to this, you can turn towards God because He's right there. He's never leaving us. No matter how far gone you think you are, God is right there. He's with you the whole way. You ever been put in a situation and I got you? That was me multiple times. So I just appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate the support. Until next time, peace.